All the Juggalos in recovery.
Hey guys, how you doing? My name is D, and I'll be running the meeting tonight. Juggalos in Recovery is about the community in recovery. There is no judging here. Everyone is unique, and so is their recovery. Our topic tonight is step 5, which is we opened up to the carnival, ourselves, and other juggalos about the shitty and not so shitty things we did during our lives. And the principle behind that step, which is integrity. So since I started the Friday night meetings, I've been doing a step every week that I've cheered. Um, and I kind of just picked the song Fuck Regret because it kind of links right in with step 5. Um, because essentially what step 5 is letting go all those regrets and bad things that were holding you down and telling somebody else your struggles throughout your life, the things you're ashamed of, the things that you regret doing, the things that you beat yourself over the mistakes, and I know I had to do that. And a lot of 12-step programs, everybody hypes up this big thing about step 4 and 5 like it's so scary. I know for me personally, step 4 and 5 were not hard at all. Like I know for the most part, a lot of the stuff I done that I can remember, and there was no point in keeping holding on to these things that made me feel less than and worthless and like I wasn't good enough and I couldn't love myself or care for myself because all these terrible things I've done in my lifetime. And if I already know all these things, what's so hard for me to tell somebody else so I can use these mistakes as an experience to help the next person that's going through the similar things and go, look, I was there too, you know? And that's I think an essential part of doing step 4 or 5 in any program of recovery is opening up somebody else. And when the principle is integrity behind step 5, integrity means to live with honesty, in a 12-step program, anyone that you work pretty much. And it's being honest all the time with yourself, with your life, with your friends and everybody throughout your journey and whatever version of sobriety is for you. And that is a big task for a lot of us who, especially like me, um, we're not very honest people. You're asking me to do a very total 180 or 360, and quit lying, quit cheating, quit manipulating, quit always looking to get something from somebody and just be honest with how I feel and what I'm doing. That's a hard thing, especially in early recovery. The longer I stay sober, though, it's not hard at all just to always be transparent with what you feel or what you say or what you think. But it's one of those things where it's character defects that you work on over time. And the further you go into the steps and the more we dive into this, we have part of the process, which is working on the defects of our character, which is, as Chris knows, for me, a nonstop thing. Just picked up or didn't pick up my coin yet doing that Saturday, but just celebrated 4 years of sobriety yesterday. Um, as continuous sobriety since 2018, not a drink or a drug, because for me, I had to become honest with myself that I can't even like take Tylenol PM like a normal person. I'm just gonna say that because Miley J says, 5 or 6 would get you high. Definitely did that once or twice. But I don't even smoke weed like a normal person, like I'm an alcoholic when it comes to weed. I will smoke from the time I wake up till the time I go to bed. That's me. Other people, they can smoke a little pot and they're fine. Me, I can't put a substance in my body or else I am off to the fucking races. If I was single, I wouldn't have substances and sobriety. I'd just be a man whore like I used to be, but um I try to change all these things when I'm going through my fourth and fifth. It lets me know all these problems I had. I had to quit filling this hole inside of me with women, gambling, drugs, everything that I was doing. And through that process, of being honest with, that's why I was doing most of the things I was doing, was just to fill whatever this lonely space was with something else. Um, changed my life dramatically. And that's a whole nother story, because that's years in the making of how much it's changed within this 4 years. Um, so with that, I will open up the meeting. If anybody, we can bounce back and forth, talk. If anybody has any thing they want to say on step 1 through 5, 4 through 5, anything at all, raise your hand or unmute your mic. I don't think I have it where you have to unmute. I have to unmute you. So you want to share your experience on steps 1 through 5?
I'm Frank, long time low, first time meeting comer. For this meeting, for Juggalos in recovery. Yeah, 5 for me was a reflection of 4, just in a different kind of way. My sponsor at the time from a different fellowship, he told me, he was like, so like, what is so bad that it's just going to absolutely kill you to tell somebody? I said, I guess nothing. What's up, son? Hold on. And I said, I guess nothing. And he was like, okay, well, let me ask you this. Is there a name for it already? Is there a name for what you're going to tell me? I was like, yeah, I guess everything that I've done is already called something. He was like, so nobody's going to come back 10 years from now and be like, hey, you never believe what I just did. I just did the Frank, And I was like, man, you're right, and then he reminded me of like the power that all that stuff loses whenever I talk about it to somebody else, because then especially like, how recovery is, like everybody's pretty tight knit in different communities and stuff. It takes away the power of somebody going behind your back and saying, hey, guess what I heard, because my sponsor was like, anybody who's around you all the time is just going to tell them, yeah, I mean, we know that, but we all have our fucked up past. So it took a lot off of me to hear my sponsor say all that. And then he told me a little bit about himself and his first 4 step, and that broke the ice a little more, like helped me open up a little bit more about some of the stuff that I had done. And I talk about this every time I talk about my 5th step, but whenever he told me some of the stuff that he had done, it didn't like, I wasn't like, damn, dude, you're more messed up than I am. It made me realize that I'm not the only messed up one. Like that's the route my mind took it, is I'm really not the only messed up one. Because I felt alone for years, like even with, my family, my Juggalo family and shit, like we took separate routes. They chose what life's supposed to be, and I chose what life's not supposed to be, and I'll just keep it that, because I don't want to go into like any details or anything. Yeah, man, step 5 for me was weight lifted off of my shoulders. I got to talk about a lot of stuff that I never talked about. And it was more therapeutic than like being with a counselor and talking about something, because I was like forced to go to counseling and stuff when I was a kid. I didn't ever think that I really needed it. And I always felt like the person on the other side of that couldn't really relate, like how the fuck can you relate to what I've been through? that that like therapeutic feeling of talking to somebody else who could relate to the shit that I was talking about was indescribable. Like I can't describe the feeling that I had after I got through talking about that fifth step. It was
It's a magical feeling. Just
absolutely, man. Yeah. Oh yeah.
simply put, like
Absolutely.
for me, 18 years of alcoholism addiction, and that was just with the substances, not the mentality. Because I would say that I was definitely had the addiction personality disorder at a way younger age when it came to like lying and manipulating and hoarding and stuff and whatever the case may be. I had those tendencies, of like, why would I hide 10 sodas knowing that they're not going to go anywhere? Because I can't run out of sodas. That's before I was even like an everyday drinker. That was like, I wasn't even 10 years old yet. But so all those years of accumulated stuff that I drank and drugged and numbed myself to everything, because if I didn't numb myself to everything, the hamster wheel was going and I'm beating myself up. And when I finally found somebody, and I didn't even know him at all, like when we went through it, like I heard him speak. I'm like, and he was like 5 or 6 years younger than me. I'm like, our stories are kind of similar. I think this vibe's good. Uh, Avoided getting in touch with him. We bumped into each other randomly off to the races with step work. And when I went through that process with him, there was almost nothing that I did that he hadn't done. So by going through that process, I felt like 2 tons of bricks were left off my back and I could finally hold my head high. I don't have to walk around looking at the ground anymore, you know, and I don't have to, the people that really care about me that are in the, in whatever 12-step program aren't going to use my past against me, right? Because we all did similar things. So I'm not worried about any of them judging me. And yet I was the person when I started going in and out of the rooms, but like, I'm not as bad as that person. I'm not as bad as that person. And that thinking never got me anywhere because I'm comparing our lives and wasn't looking at the emotions behind the things. You know what I mean? And when I started looking at through the lens of the emotions and feelings behind um everybody's stories, I can relate to everybody. Might not have done the same DOC, might not have went through the same tough spots, but that feeling of what you're saying, like I felt lonely even in a crowd of homies, you know what I mean? Like Juggalo homies, whole bunch of them still felt like the loner in the group because I was the buck wild addict and alcoholic. And I think that's just part of the disease, because it is a disease, is it kind of makes you distant from everybody being under that influence. And if you're anything like I was, which I'm assuming you might be if you're watching this or you're in the room, we tend to push people away that actually give a fuck about us. So we feel those things that we already think in our head, we feel them because we don't want to let anybody close to us because we don't feel we deserve it at times. And that's like a hard thing to learn throughout sobriety, is to change those thoughts and feelings and start looking things differently and positive, in a positive manner, or trying to learn to trust other people, especially when you lived a life where you did a bunch of untrustworthy things like I did. How could you trust me? Do you know that I army crawled on the floor to steal money out of my mom's purse before? Like, I'm that kind of dude. Do you know I helped somebody look for their wallet and it was in my pocket? Like, it makes you feel unworthy when you did those kind of things, to have somebody care about you and be like, I don't deserve this. But when we look at like, I'm still here for a reason and I do deserve this, you know, it changes your whole motives behind things and it changes what you want to do for other people. Hey Joe, thanks for joining. The meeting topic is step 5 and the principle behind integrity. Chris, you got anything with
I
your
mean,
5 experience?
yeah, like
Welcome Frank, the newcomer. Thanks for joining us.
yeah, Frank's been dope. I enjoyed his share on this. Uh, we all have our past, but one thing that was different for me because I didn't come from a step background is I always let everybody know about the shit that I'm capable of when I'm not myself. And so the idea of integrity is something that I carried with me consistently. Anybody that knows me knows my past. And with them knowing my past and still accepting me, that means that they're people that are worth keeping around. So the idea of step 5 in normal 12 steps, in my opinion, would probably be one of the most beneficial things for flushing toxic people out of your life.
I mean, I totally agree with that. Like when I went through that and noticed all my toxic stuff, like I hung around a bunch of people that were just as toxic as me. And I had to change those type of people I wanted to be around, because I didn't want those same feelings and negativity and the bad, all the bad stuff that happened. Like I had to distance myself and love. If they stayed around, I love them from afar. But like my inner circle had to change completely. Which is no easy task either. And I don't know, we talked at the gathering, we talk all the time. I'm pretty blunt about how I was because I never want to forget. Like I even, it's somewhere, I have my canteen bag from prison still. Like I never forget the things I've put myself through because I don't want to repeat those mistakes that I've already had to learn from.
Yeah, no, and I feel that. And because our past is part of who we are, and it's something that we need to be reflecting on a regular basis because it reminds us of the shit that we used to do and that we're no longer willing to let ourselves do. And I guess that would also be a type of integrity.
Oh, I mean, that's kind of like what we're supposed to do. Like in the recovery community, like that's how you get newcomers to stick around, right? Is being your authentic self and not being, hiding from your past. Is which what I was saying, like the fourth and fifth lets you let go of all those bad feelings of your past and use those as a tool. And then like in our step 12 of the Juggalos and recovery program is that we carry out the message to other addicts, whether juggalo or not, right? We're supposed to tell everybody like, yo, we're sober, we're juggalos in recovery, and lend that hand. We can't lend a hand if we can't use our past experience to help somebody up from where they're at.
It's one of those things like if you're not open about the person that you are and you're not living your authentic life, you're living in a box. You're only allowing yourself to be yourself for X amount of time and around X amount of people. And that's no way to live a life.
Joe C, you got anything you want to share?
I've been trying to connect headphones because I was trying to do something. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sure Josie's gonna spout some kind of craziness.
Sorry, guys. Daddy duty calls really quick.
Oh, you're good.
Understood, Frank.
Is it in your ear?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Haha, whoop whoop. I figured out how to make it so you're in a meeting at work, asshole.
Josie's being fucking devil's advocate over there, trying to force people to go to meetings.
I mean,
No, I only did that because that is the person that's basically covered my ass so that I haven't got my ass in trouble. And
well,
he's been trying to do it and wanting to, but he works nights when everything else is going on. So
well,
I had to help him figure it out.
You know, Chris, they say you can't keep it unless you give it away. You know, sometimes you just got to drag them in, plant little seeds, you know, and they might come to I wouldn't say the dark side because that's where a lot of people are, the brighter side of the dark side.
Well, we're definitely the more interesting.
Yeah, you know what? I had my wedding and I have all like these normal people in recovery, like kind of normal people, but they all know I'm like the token juggalo kid, and I already told them like Halloween masquerade. I'm pretty sure I might have blew some wigs at the wedding. Just saying. Like, oh, like they even like started like we went to take a picture and like everybody say Fago. And then my wife's like, this isn't a juggalo wedding. And everybody's joking. And then my kids are like, I know where the juggalo juice is. And go run to get soda. And you know what I mean? Like we're definitely a little bit different from some, you know, other people in sobriety, you know.
Yeah, I mean, we're not square boxes. We're kind of like wavy, weird shit.
We're the triangle trying to go into the circle.
So I just want to say, man, that on October 5th, I went to that Twisted show in Seattle, right? Certified Psychos. And that was my first show not being completely obliterated. I had so much more fun, dude. Like it was by the end of the show. So I flew my sister up from Oklahoma to Seattle. And she by the end of the show, she was not doing good. You know, I wasn't like, hey, if you're going with me, you're not gonna do this. That's none of my business. She's grown, you know, she can do what she wants to do. By the end of it, she was passed out in the front seat of my car. Like she'd been out there puking and stuff. And I'm like coming out, you know, just like jumping around. What's up, dude? What's up? Wake up, wake up. We still got to ride home. But no, it was awesome, man. Like sobriety is cool. You know, a lot of people, including myself, you know, think that being sober at events like that's going to be a drag, and it's really not, man. It's so much more fun. Like, I had the best time I've ever had, for
I've
sure.
been to a few concerts and a couple festivals since I got sober. And I've been to a whole bunch of shows throughout my life. I couldn't even tell you who all I've seen in person. I was your sister, blacked out by the end of this show. You know, you probably were the same thing too, you know, and like I don't recall half the shows I've went to because of that, but like I went seen Tech Nine on his last tour and went VIP. Remembered every minute, videotapes, pictures, everything was beautiful. I went to a rock festival and I seen Jelly Roll. I went and seen Ari the Rugged Man. I went to the Gathering. Every one of those, the best experiences ever, because I remember every minute of it, you know, and it's actually a memory that will last a lifetime, instead of where I could tell you like I was at this show at this time, but I couldn't tell you fucking what songs were played, who was fucking there. Besides, I was there. I don't fucking remember because I was so usually drugged up out of my mind and drunk all the time, um, that I don't remember a lot of my life. I just know I done a fucked up shit. I couldn't tell you every single person I've done shit to because my life is a blur after 18 years of drinking and drugging. The only time I remember things are those bouts where I get removed from society, placed in handcuffs, and that's how I get sober. And some of those are longer periods of times than others, and it's not too fun, you know? So,
I can tell you this from my point of view. I've been to 10 plus gatherings at this point. Only two of them was I not sober. The sober ones are way more fun. I get to do way more shit when, you know, I don't end up passing out in the middle of a field somewhere and wake up hours later and drag ass for the next 4 days.
okay, so on the what I see a lot on the topic, or people in a program with step 4 and 5 too, I don't know if anybody else knows it, is like the procrastination to not want to just like write something down and then talk to somebody, anybody, and let go of stuff. Like I never got why that was such a hard thing, right? Like I never really worked the program anytime. I've been out of the room since in and out of different rooms since I was like 12 years old. And I was always like, step one's cool, step two's cool. I'm never giving up my will. I'm never gonna do anything that isn't for 100% me. You know what I mean? In a selfish manner, right? But when I actually worked the program and started wanting to actually sincerely like help people without a fucking motive, or it maybe help change somebody without a motive, it made it so much easier to go, I'm gonna write all this stuff out and talk to somebody. And it says, it's, I mean, everybody has their own journey in recovery, but it was something I had to do like this, right? Like I couldn't be years of sobriety still holding this giant bottle of guilt and shame and regret. I would just go get drunk and high again, because to me that's miserable. I know I had a dry period of like 5 years and some change, and I just wanted to fucking murder everybody all the time, just nothing but angry and hate and not a crack and a smile. And it was probably one of the worst 5 years of dry time, what you would call sobriety. I was just white knuckle miserable and fuck the world. I want to watch everything burn. And I just wish people would like, if they're really trying to do this, like to just dive in, man. Nobody here is going to judge you, especially not Chris. We won't talk about something Chris does. Uh, that's not for live recordings. Or some of the things I do, or who knows, Frank, Joe, who knows. We've done some crazy things. So we're definitely not going to judge you. And I mean, that's not part of our community. So if you're a juggalo in the rooms or gonna watch this recorder, we're a community that's not supposed to judge anybody. Where we welcome everybody. Well, I mean, unless you're a racist or a bigot or a pedo, you're not welcome.
We could definitely talk about all of the dumb shit that I've done in my life. I've been sober long enough that I'm past statute of limitations. Yeah. It is what it is. We've got to be okay with who we are, what we've done. And if we let everybody know that and we accept that, we share that in these rooms, in and out of the rooms, online, wherever, as long as we still have people that accept us, it's good enough. And if the people don't accept us, we don't need those people around.
So you know what's crazy? Like, yeah, I had a whole bunch of people in my journey that started accepting me that are still in my circle, but Facebook is just a whole bunch of people being nosy about a whole bunch of other people half the time, though. But the longer I stay sober and the more these people from the past randomly pop in through Facebook. And I guess that would be saying actions speak louder than the words. When somebody sees you doing something long enough, then they go, okay, maybe actually this person has changed this time, right? Because the way I was out there 10 years ago, like a lot of people probably wouldn't never talk to me again, but there is the ones that do, those ones that always seen something about you, despite all the negative things and all the negative that you were at that period of time.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, the only reason I got to be where I am is because I did the same thing for enough time that people ended up recognizing it. So you can always choose to show yourself doing good, or you could show yourself being an ass. And most of the time, I don't really feel like showing my ass. Nobody's paying me enough.
Well,
You guys are slacking. Nobody's saying shit tonight.
well, if nobody else has anything to share on this topic or anything they want to say, we can at least end the live stream, and we can still bullshit if you want to bullshit for a minute.
Yeah, let's just do that and we can be done for a minute.
All right, well, I'm going to close this meeting. And until the next one, which is Monday night or Wednesday or Friday, I believe no matter how long the road, if we walk together, we will get there. Even though we will face some of the darkest evil ever seen, we will face it as a community and stand fearless in its path. Nothing will stop us. With the help of our family and community, we will overcome the persecution and tribulations that life may cast from time to time. So the ones who still suffer and haven't found the path to serenity and community will continue to search for you and help you no matter your element. We carry out our stories and messages to everyone who listens. As the sun descends and night becomes, we rise to take the path.